great to meet you. It's great to share your music.
Thank you so much for having us here. It's really exciting to be at the Festi.
Yeah, man, I am equally excited. You have sounded wonderful during soundcheck. We're about to share 4 of your songs off of Cycles, the current album, with our audience right now. What's happening first today?
We're going to start with one called Young Love. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2. Well, I know that you'd scale a cliff, all calm and steady, and I know that you build a wheel, giving something too heavy. Well, I'm like a bird in a storm, all unsteady. But if I were to cash in my chips, there'd be plenty. Oh, young love, it's growing up, it's getting older. Oh, young love ain't gonna do what it's told anymore. Oh, young love, it's acting up, it's throwing us all around. Oh, young love, it's lashing out, but I stand my ground. Well, I know that you plant a tree, giving one seed to bury. And if the power went out, you'd have a light ready. I'm just a bundle of nerves, all spaghetti. But if I were to cash in my chips, it'd just be petty. Oh, young love, it's growing up, it's getting older. Oh, young love ain't gonna do what it's told anymore. Oh, young love, it's acting up, it's throwing us all around. Oh, young love, it's lashing out, but I stand my ground. Young love, it's growing up, it's getting older. Oh, young love ain't gonna do what it's told anymore. Oh, young love, it's acting up, it's throwing us all around. Oh, young love, it's lashing out, but I stand my ground. Well, I cannot burn with desire, all calm and steady. And sometimes I might try to lift something too heavy, but you are my beacon of light, guarding the levee. So please do not cash in your chips, I know you're ready. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Rachel. Can we talk a little bit about production stuff? So
Yeah, I'd love to.
Your producers of the debut album and of the most current album are, it's kind of like a family affair here because it's Olivia from OPEP who co-produced the most recent one,
Yeah.
and then Andrew from Watch House, formerly known as Mandolin Orange, the first one. So Mandolin Orange is doing this tomorrow, and then Sean, the drummer, who sometimes plays with OPEP, was just with us with Taylor Ashton. What do those two roles look like? So, I mean, the role of producer is an extremely variable thing from project to project. What did it look like with Andrew? What did it look like with Olivia? And who brought what to the table?
Yeah, I think anytime that I like try to work with a producer, it's because I kind of want to dive into their world and figure out how they're making, the beautiful sounds that they're making. So for both of those projects, I kind of got to go to those people's home zones. So I recorded my first album, Shame, in like the Raleigh-Durham area of North Carolina in the studio that Andrew had been working in a lot. And so that was really amazing because I had been listening to all these records. He'd been putting out these beautiful soundscapes, and I kind of got to see how everything was made. And I like to kind of take those things with me to the next project, kind of like gather all these secret tools. So working with Andrew was really amazing. That was kind of my first like songwriter type album where I wasn't worrying about instrumentation. I had kind of opened the floodgates to whatever would happen. And so it was awesome. He played like all the drums and bass on the album, and I could just sit in the control room and be like, actually, can you just do this? And, it was basically just me, him, and Josh Oliver made the most of that whole album. So that was super fun. And then with Liv, it was like this whole other thing because I had a similar kind of infatuation with her production style, the sounds she was getting for her own band, but it was so different than Andrew's sound. And we worked really collaboratively, more so on the songwriting side of things than I did with Andrew. So that was really cool. She had a big hand in kind of shaping a lot of the songs and adding those little special hooks that made this album really fun, I think. And we also were, just mostly just her and I putting down most of the stuff, and a great drummer named Bree Hartley, and in both of those situations, there's a lot of trial and error, experimentation in the studio, and just a whole bunch of fun. So I feel like I hopefully stole a bunch of tricks from her as well that I can take on to the next thing.
Nice. So when you're communicating with Andrew and saying, I want it to be this way, are you saying stuff like, I want this track to feel like Sam Cooke, I want that to feel like Merle Haggard, or are you telling him like notch filter this at 600 hertz or whatever? Like, are you doing technically or like feeling wise? How do you tend to communicate?
Well, I mean, Andrew has such an incredible feel, and the feel I was looking for with that record was his feel. So I really didn't have to do any of that. He brought that all to the table, as he kind of does with everything that he plays on and produces. But I was more micromanaging the specific parts, the drum parts, the bass parts, because he was playing them. I mean, it's hard to produce your own parts, I think. So that was where the collaboration came in, but as he was doing for mine as well. But I wasn't telling him about frequencies really, because there was a great engineer there. So I kind of although he's really good with engineering stuff as well. So.
Well, thank you for sharing the music with us. I've been enjoying Cycles a lot, and I'm enjoying what you're doing live right now. Thank you for all of it. Thank you for your time and just being here with us.
Thank you. This is such a joy.
Yeah, and we're barely even into it right now. There's a lot more of your music to be shared with the audience. What's happening second today?
We're going to play one called Hope It Hurts. This is kind of my love letter to the music industry.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So the album cycles by, I mean, the title is pretty indicative of what it's about. I mean, cycles between, as we're all aware of, birth and death and confidence and self-doubt, and we tend to live a dynamic existence as human beings. That's what the album is about. Where are you at right now in terms of your worldview, your self-image right at the moment? Are you in a particularly creative moment? Are you in a particularly, like, where are you at in terms of your?
Yeah.
Oh, that doesn't sound right. Where?
I'm on a tear right now. Like,
Good.
I'm just like, I've been on the road literally this entire month, and I'm just like on this super high of getting to play out again and play music, and thinking about making a new album later this fall, and just like I've been hyper focused on music and performing and touring and all of the creative aspect. I think for the whole of 2020 and even the beginning of 2021, kind of being in the I guess the cycle of putting out a record involves kind of, you make the record and then there's this long period where you're just constantly thinking about putting it out and promoting it, and that part is, to me, it's necessary, but it's like creatively very deadening. Like, it makes you, just because you're always in kind of the business side of things.
Like, that's the work.
That's the work of it, yeah. And so that, I think, was like extended because of the pandemic. It took so long to get this record out, and I was thinking about it for so long and scheming on how it was going to come out. And so now that it's finally out and we're able to play shows again, I think I've just been riding that wave to maybe to my detriment, but I'm still enjoying it as of now. So I look forward to the oncoming crash.
I believe we're probably going to sleep well tonight because we have also been riding a similar wave, and there's a lot of work coming up for us, and it does feel good because it feels like there's activity now, and I've got stuff to do for the next 2 months, and it's a wonderful feeling to be busy again.
Yeah, you feel like you have a skill or a purpose.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, yeah, having a drive and a thing to do and a place to direct that energy is very, very important. I mean, it's what keeps us all moving and doing this. So thank you for moving and doing this with us right now. I'm very much enjoying combining our energies, and there's a lot more of your music to be shared. I think we're only halfway through right now. There's a third and a fourth.
Yeah, this is halftime. Yeah. This next song is called Wyoming Wildflowers, and I wrote this one. I was actually out in Wyoming, and I was celebrating my friend's wedding in this beautiful area of the country that I hadn't been to before, close to Pinedale, Wyoming, and like Jackson Hole area. It's gorgeous. Yeah, Tetons, exactly. That same weekend, there was like the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, and I was just experiencing a lot of cognitive dissonance about how this could be occurring at the same time. Being in such a kind of joyful state of mind, being in such a beautiful part of the country. And it kind of just, I was just thinking about what has to go wrong to get someone to spend their energy in that direction. And that's kind of the inspiration behind this one. So, can I introduce my band?
Yeah, please.
I love these people so much, and I'm so grateful they're on the road with me. This is Miss Tess on the bass. And that's Lauren Hortbull on the drums. And this is Jacob Grootman on the guitar. All right, here we go. Wyoming Wildflowers. 1, 2, 3. Well, I've covered some ground working this job, but I never do stop to look for long. So the field out west caught my surprise. The color come to you when you open up your eyes. But how come nobody told me? How come nobody showed me Wyoming wildflowers? Well, there's good old boys that shout and scream about what the colors on this earth mean. fight for something worth fighting for. Take a prism to the rays of the sun. And don't say nobody told you. Don't say nobody showed you Wyoming wildflowers. Yellow is the new hope, blue is New Orleans, orange is the ripest friend. Red as the cheek of a child's delight, and purple is the calm of the twilight.
Thank you. So I know you relocated from Chicago to Nashville. You're in Nashville now, right?
Yep.
Were you active as a musician? Because you're pretty young when you moved from Chicago to Nashville. Were you active in Chicago? Like, do you know what that scene was like versus? Can you compare and contrast Chicago to Nashville, or do you identify more as a Nashville artist?
Well, I moved from Chicago when I was 18, so it was before I could really go out to shows and things like that. My scene in Chicago was more of the kind of like cornfield fiddle contest, state fair variety. So it's pretty different.
Famous Chicago cornfields.
Well, I guess I spent a lot of time kind of outside of the city for my music because I was primarily playing fiddle at that time. So I wasn't really like following any songwriters or going to shows. I was just a big dork playing the fiddle, basically. So I can't really compare, but I do really enjoy going back to play in Chicago now, and I definitely feel like plugged into the scene surrounding kind of like Bloodshot Records and those kind of artists. But yeah, it's a great town. I
email with Josh Zanger a lot from Bloodshot. He's the man.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I definitely came of age as a musician in Nashville, so that's very much been my
so how has that scene embraced you? Who are some of the artists that you've been able to support, and some of the artists who have supported you?
Yeah, well, some of my like first musical friends have kind of remained my closest musical friends. The first people that I met in Nashville were like Kelsey Walden, who is having a great career now, signed with John Prine's record label, and Christian Settlemeyer, who I had a band with for a long time, and we still play out, called 10 String Symphony, and he plays in like everyone's band. I can't even start to name them, but he's on tour right now with like Jerry Douglas and John Hyatt. And Shelby Means, who's a great bass player who played in my band for many years as well. And so kind of getting to come of age with those people, learn and grow with them and go through all of the crazy experiences and, you know, getting gigs and losing gigs. And I think like when I first started playing, whenever you're like starting out in the music industry, I think you sort of feel like every chance is like your only chance that you're ever going to get. And so when things don't work out, it feels like, oh my God, like my life is ruined, everything. And I feel like I went through that, and I went through that with all my friends as well. And so it's I don't know, it's a really nice, beautiful camaraderie that I feel in that town.
I mean, that weeding out process is important. I mean, if you are the type of person who's going to get crushed one time and say, all right, that's it for me, then
I mean, it's kind of just
it's not for you.
It's just a game of longevity in some ways. It's just who's going to last the longest playing, you know, so.
Well, thank you for coming here and for playing music with us today. There's still one more coming up off of Cycles. What's the last song today?
Yeah, we're gonna do the title track. So this is kind of the song. This song I co-wrote with Liv before we had conceived of this record, and it was kind of what the inspiration for doing the album together. We had such an amazing like artistic chemistry, and I asked her if she would do the record after this song. So this kind of started it all. Can you all hear that? 1, 2, 3, 4. I will come to your door with all the things I've seen before. Watch you struggle for your glory, breathing life into the fury. Motherhood isn't kind, a constant race against the time. From one body, another born. From one love, another torn. My heart goes out to you. Everything is coming soon. I'm rising as you bloom, but I see myself in everything you do. Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a will, a price to pay. Where you sleep into the evening, I'll be here to guard your dream and feel your joy. When you wake, I feel your pain. When you break up into communication, hear your voice on every station. My heart goes out to you. Everything is coming soon. I'm rising as you bloom, but I see myself in everything you do. I see myself in everything you do. I see myself in everything you do. These cycles shed our sins. I would die to be born again. We made a brand new skin, handed down to be worn again. These cycles shed our sins. I would die to be born again. We made a brand new skin, handed down to be worn again. These cycles shed our sins. I would die to be born again. We made a brand new skin, handed down to be worn again. Thank you.
All right, Rachel, thank you so much for coming and doing this. We appreciate it very much, and we'll keep on crossing paths. We'll be doing this for a while. You're going to be doing this forever, so we'll see you in, I'll see you on the main stage tomorrow, right?
Yes. Thank you so much. Thanks for having us. It's been a joy.
Indeed, on our side as well. See you next time.
All right. Thanks.